Okay, we're going to cross our fingers that today's the lucky day and it works.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I'm giving it over to Jackson.
All right. Okay, we guys, you still have about what, a little under 10 minutes. So if you have to go to the bathroom, need a drink, got to get your stuff to hopefully take notes again. You guys with these little teacups cracking me up. Need a break. I didn't know. Oh, let me put. Yes, I got one too. Let's see if I can do it on this one. And that's a no. That's no fun. Down here. Nope. I guess on the iPad you cannot take a break. While we wait. Oops, kind of a high minus sign. Give them a couple more minutes. Wouldn't it be nice? I actually put it on charge. I'm sitting at my desk right now just to make sure that the computer does not die on me. And the worst part was, I was at 50% when we started, so it should not have died. Now you make me look and see if that green light's going. Ms. Newman had it happen to her this morning. She texted me that her computer was broken. It wound up that somebody unplugged her charger from the wall, and so she thought it was on charge all night long, and it wasn't. And then she couldn't figure out why it wouldn't start. Because it was dead. Hello, Mr. Canizio.
Hi.
I think some of you just come back to see if we can get through this lesson.
Honestly, yes, that's what I've been doing.
It's like the entertainment of the week. So when we were done yesterday and I'd given up, Miss Murphy had just texted me. I had some stuff she wanted. And I said, well, you can come by now because my computer died. Then the iPad decided it's not going to connect to the internet. Then my phone said, nope, not going to let you Zoom either. I said, so we gave up. We're going to give them 2 more minutes, even though we probably shouldn't have. We probably should start. But maybe that's the problem. Monday and Tuesday, we started before our time. So maybe the computer got mad. Ah, Mitchell's back for some more torture too.
Sharky,
What?
are the rest of the lessons pretty easy or no?
Well, like once you get more into the quadratic formula, to me, I find it easy just to learn how to use the quadratic formula because it'll solve every equation. So it can be.
Okay. You know who I haven't seen come on here, Sharky?
Who?
Jay.
Oh yeah, well, Jamie, he's like, I've got this. I understand.
Yeah, he just does his homework in class.
Exactly. He's probably happy that he can just do that with this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm zooming. Kind of nice to be able to say that we're still on Zoom. All right, so let's get going before we have any issues. So today, in between 2 and 3, I was on another Zoom just to test it out, and it worked. So I just think Zoom doesn't like me. Okay, so on your quiz, you're going to have something like this where it says fill in the blank. So this blank is always that. So B is always this right here. And like we talked about, and that's as far as we pretty much got yesterday, it does not matter if you remember the negative sign or not, because in the end, we square it. And whenever I square something, if it's negative, it turns out positive. So I have 5 times x squared minus 4x plus, so then I take my 4, divide by 2, and then square that. So then I get a 4 plus 15. So then my blank is just 4. And when you do it, all they want is that 4. They do not want you on the quiz to write out the entire equation or anything like that. Does that make sense? It's kind of like trying to put together all of the halves of a lesson. I wonder if this is working better today because I used my personal chat or Zoom room. And with that one, you notice you don't have the waiting room. Wonder if the waiting room is the problem and not charging my computer. So let's look at another one like that. And this time I'm going to have you guys fill in the blank. 4 times x squared minus 6x plus, we don't know, plus 20. So what is we don't know?
Nine.
How'd you get 9?
Don't you do divided by 6 divided by 2 and then square it?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, it's 9.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Good. So you know you've had me long enough. When I ask if you're sure, doesn't mean that you're wrong.
Yeah.
Michael is correct. Question mark equals 9. So do we feel confident with these that you could do this? Because I think the hardest part is when you start off with the original equation and then we have to go from there and start solving. Because then you have things like remembering to multiply by that.
Yeah, that's the part. That's the tough one.
Yeah, so let's do some more of those and solve for those. And I think we pretty much can do that, and we should be doing better. So we will say we want to know what our solutions are. So I have negative 4x squared plus 24x minus 29 equals 0. And I want us to solve for x. So now, like what I was talking about before, Mikey, is that you guys, once you learn how to do the quadratic formula, I'm telling you, memorize it, because you won't have to ever do this crap again. There will be no reason to do it because your quadratic formula will give you these x-intercepts, and you're not going to have to do all of this. So I have the negative 4, which is my common factor, because remember, we only look at the beginning. X squared plus, oh, nope, I lied, minus 6x. And then remember, we have the minus 29. So then my goal is to put something right here to continue that so that I have a trinomial to factor. So let's do negative 4 times x squared minus 6x. And then remember, it's plus, and then I do 6 divided by 2 squared, which is 9. And then on the other side, if I add 9 here to get rid of it, we're going to subtract 9, and it's times whatever that is, equals 0. So far, so good? Okay, just make sure, guys, you should know by now, because you're the same group, that if you're not sure how I'm doing something, you just pipe up. Now, the next step is to start getting rid of some crap. So we have negative 4 times x plus 3 square, oh, that's minus minus 3, because that sign's the one that travels. Then I have, let's see, this is negative positive 36 minus 29 is 7. All right, just make sure my math is right, because I don't know what I do with my calculator. How I lost it between yesterday and today is beyond me. Minus my 7 from both sides, gone. So then I get negative 4 times x minus 3 squared equals negative 7. So yesterday we had talked about that I could not square root a negative number, but notice this time I can divide both sides by negative 4. So that gives me x minus 3 squared equals 7 over 4. Does anybody remember what the next step is while I go look and see if my calculator is on my desk? Come on, Mikey, you gotta know what to do. Ariel, you've seen this lesson so many times, you should be a pro.
Is it, wait,
What do I do next?
distribute the exponent? I don't know.
You can't do that, because remember box method, I'd wind up going back to a trinomial up here. How do I
You
get
put in
rid
the
of the
7.
square? See this? How do I get rid of that? What's the opposite? If I had x squared and I just wanted x, what would I do? Square root,
you would,
perfect area.
yeah.
So we're going to square root both sides, because that is going to cancel that square out. So I get x minus 3 equals the square root of 7 over 4. And then to solve for x, I honestly add 3 to both sides. And I get x equals, and whatever the square root of 7 over 4, which I'm going to do on my calculator, I'm going to have a positive and a negative version. 7 over 4 equals that. Oh, wait, I can do this. I'm not this dumb. 7 to fraction bar. Oh, sweet mother almighty. So we're going to give a rounding answer, which we would not normally do, because you would usually write plus or minus the square root of 7 over 2 plus 3. That would be your formal answer. Does everybody get that? Did I lose you on how I did that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so let me show you again. I'm going to erase some of this stuff up top. Does anybody still need to have that? So far, I'm still recording, so the video will be posted. Okay, so let me get rid of this so that I can show you what I did. Because this is, guys, when you get to quadratics, this, or we are in quadratics, obviously, but when you get to using the quadratic formula, you guys are going to be like, oh, I got this. Sharky showed us this already. That's easy. So what I did was I had the square root of 7 over 4. Okay. So when I do that, I can split my square root up like this. Do you remember that? You should.
So you basically just doing the square root of 4 because,
Right.
Okay.
So don't forget, with the square root of something, it's the positive and the negative version of it. And I will tell you that that is something that would have been on the Algebra 1 EOC. You would have had something like square root of 4, what is it? And you would have said plus or minus 2. Okay. So I have positive or negative of the 7 over the square root of 4 is 2. Okay. Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how come you did it this time and you didn't do it like yesterday? You didn't do it.
Because this was a problem that wasn't on the quiz that didn't work out nice and pretty.
Oh, this isn't on the quiz?
Well, not getting this far.
Oh, okay.
All right. So you will have something like this on the quiz, but they're not asking you to finish solving. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So when you do quadratic formula, though, this is kind of where you're going to end up.
Okay.
Okay, so you can, so when you're doing the quadratic formula, this might look messy to you. I can also change the 3 to a 6 over 2. And then since I have common denominators now, I can write that whole numerator together and divide by 2. This right here is almost identical to what you're going to see on when you do quadratic formula. That's the kind of answer you get. Mike,
Okay.
I'm muting you. You are like rustling. You're being weird. All right, let's do another one. Next page. So I think this is the one we left off on, and I died on my computer. So we're going to go ahead and try this one. And you're going to love the fact that I found my calculator because that's nasty math. So some of you might be having a difficult part with this and keeping it out of your mess. So this is a different way because you know, Sharky, I've always got to show you 500 ways to do something. So we factor out our 5 minus 14x, okay? And we're going to put the 258 on the other side. And this does work for some people. Some people, this honestly will confuse you more. And if it confuses you more, just throw the idea out in the trash can and stick with what you know. So then I do my b over 2 squared to get what I'm going to add. So that gives me 749 squared minus 14x plus 49. And don't forget for this, for the other side, it will be plus though a 5 times whatever is that. So the reason why this helps some people is because you're doing the same thing to both sides. I'm adding, I'm not subtracting, because adding to the other side's no different than subtracting from the side I'm on. So I would get negative 258 plus 5 times 49, and I am not that good to do that in my head. 49 times 5, 245. Really? Yep. So I get negative 258 plus 245 equals, and then I had the x minus 7 squared. Okay. And this is the one we did yesterday. Remember where we talked, because I got the negative 13, and I said that you would wind up with no solution. Okay, this right here to solve, you will learn it is in Algebra 2. Because you're going to learn that the square root of a negative 1 is I, an imaginary number. So is that the one you were talking about, Mikey, where it was a little different?
Yeah, because now you can't bring the 5 over, can you?
Well, I can still do that. I can still divide by 5, but since there's nothing and that's going to stay negative, you would know you're done at this level.
Okay.
Okay, so once you get to Algebra 2, they're going to teach you, and really, quite honestly, just because it makes you laugh that it's this simple. So I get x plus, oops, that's a minus 7 squared, because I divided, and I have the square root of negative 13 over 5. So all I honestly do is put an I in front and do the square root of 13 over 5.
Seriously?
Yep. And then add 7. That's what you're going to do. But like when you graph it and stuff like that, it's just a little bit more confusing. Okay. So graphs like this would not have an x-intercept. So since it's, so you're either going to have a parabola that goes like this or a parabola that goes like that with these kind of graphs or equations. Does that make sense? You see why there's no solution? Because it doesn't cross the x-axis. Better? Better, Michael? He mutes us whenever I ask him a question.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's do another one. Just because I know you need the practice, and since we're not getting kicked off yet, this is like the hardest part of the entire thing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do this one. So what is the first thing I'm going to do?
Bring the 7 over.
You can.
So,
If that works for you, do that. Okay. So far, so good?
yeah.
Okay, what do I do now? Notice I left a space. There's probably a reason. Do I have a common factor I can pull out?
Yes, 3.
3. Good. Now, me, when I was learning how to do this, I will tell you, when I pulled out a common factor, that's what I did. Do you see how I wrote it out on the other side? Because I'm telling you right now, that was the only way I ever remembered to multiply that out.
Oh, yeah, because, okay.
Right? So whenever I pulled out my common factor, that's why I'm teaching you guys how to do it on the other side, because then you could just write that step out and it might make it a little easier, because I guarantee if you messed it up, it's just because you forgot something like that. Okay? So then what goes in the blank? It's a whole lot of 2s. So what's 2 divided by 2 squared?
1.
There we go. Okay, are we good so far? So then I would have 3 times x plus 1 squared equals 7. Well, that's easy. 7 plus 3 is 10. What do I do now?
Yeah, bring the.
Divide by 3.
Yep.
Then I get x plus 1 squared equals 10 over 3. Now's the hard part. What do I do next?
You bring the. Oh, you have to do the square root thing because of the squared.
Exactly. So I get, and then I might as well minus 1. So I get x equals plus or minus square root of 10 over 3 minus 1. So yet again, Ms. Sharkey could not pick a nice and neat, pretty one with an answer.
Makes more sense.
Okay, let's try another one. Hopefully this one will work. This one's numbers look like it might work. So we'll try. So I get 2x squared plus 12x minus 14 equals 0. What do you want to do first?
Bring the 14 over.
Bring that 14 over. So I get 2x squared plus 12x equals 14. What do I notice?
Common factors, 2.
Yep, so yank that bad boy out. 2 times x squared plus 6x plus sign equals 14 plus sign 2 times something. Okay, now what is my something?
9.
Plug them in. What do I do now?
18 plus 14 is 32.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Divide by 3.
How about a 2? That's the worst looking.
Oh, yeah. 2. My bad.
So I get x plus 3 squared equals 16. Ha! We got a pretty one coming. What do I do now?
Then you do square root of 16, which is 4.
Square root both sides. And
Yeah.
is it just 4?
So then x plus 3.
It's not just 4. What is it?
What do you mean?
It's
Oh,
also
4 squared.
plus or minus 4.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
And then you subtract 3, you get 1.
So I subtract 3 from both sides, right? So I have x is 4 minus 3, and x is negative 4 minus 3. So I get a 1 and a negative 7. It's nice when you can find one that works. Okay, you guys want to try one more?
Wait, the Sharky.
What?
So when it has like a fraction, it's the square root. So you don't do like both options. It's just the 1, pretty much.
Well, you can write it out. So let's say I ended up with x plus 3 equals the square root of, I don't know, 2, just for the fun of it. I got nothing. So all I have to do is minus my 3 from both sides. But this 2 is a positive and negative version of it. So I would wind up with negative 3 plus the square root of 2 and negative 3 minus the square root of 2. And since you guys are supposed to be advanced, you should know a simpler way to write that, because I don't know about you guys, but you don't really want to write it all out twice when you can just write plus or minus in one step. And this is a lot of how you're going to do it when you do the quadratic formula. Is that better, Mikey?
Yeah, so couldn't you just put the 3 on the other side too, the minus 3? Or no?
Oh, you are talking about on the other side of the negative square root of 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have wrote plus or minus the square root of 2 minus 3. Same thing.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, remember the commutative property lets you do that?
Yep.
And guys, I'm telling you, for geometry, if you do nothing else, just study those properties, because you guys are going to be writing proofs. And they're not bad if you learn all those properties. Like those of you that have had me, you have heard all year long additive inverse, addition property of equality, all that stuff, commutative, associative. Learn those properties, because you will find it so much easier when you hit geometry. That and solving for a variable. Those are like the 2 skills when I taught geometry that I wished every kid knew when they came in. So let's do one more, just because I have one more, and I think this one works. I make no promises, but I think it does. So first step, you guys seem to like doing it with the minus 15 on both sides. To me, it's just easier to keep things organized. And those that have me know Sharky's not the most organized person in the world. So whenever I can do anything, I got that. Next, I factor it out. So I want you to spend a minute and try to do this problem and see, because I'm going to start and I should be lagging behind you. So work on it, and then I'm going to start working on it, and then we can compare. I'm in the middle of a Zoom with another class. Sorry, but there is a Zoom at 4 o'clock, if you go on to your announcements with Miss Balsh. It's in your messages. You have to go into the inbox. It probably at this point, I've messaged so many times that you probably have like so many that it just put in an infinity symbol. All right, so go find it in there. But if you need help, you need to be on that Zoom at 4 o'clock with anything. I'm serious, dude. You promise? All right, then go watch the video. Bye. Okay, and then I did. Oh no, don't you dare disappear on me. 6 divided by 2 squared, 9. Oh, I had a lag for a second. I thought I was gonna disappear and I was gonna be mad because I've been so excited. So then I got this. 18 plus 15 is 3. Divide both sides by 3. Good gravy, Mikey. What are you doing? Are you like chopping up a body?
No, I didn't even realize I wasn't on mute. I'm kicking a soccer ball in my house. That's my bad. I didn't even know I wasn't on mute.
Quick, hide the body.
That this is recorded. I really hope District does not go in and listen to some of our Zooms.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm just ripping the ball around the house and I didn't even know. I'm sorry.
You guys crack me up. Did everybody get this far? Because a lot of times you guys can get this far and that's where you like have the breaks and you're like, ugh. So then we remember that we square root both sides. The one thing I love about the number 1 is the square root of 1 is positive negative 1. So I have x plus 3 equals positive and negative 1. So I subtract 3. And I have x equals 1 minus 3. X equals negative 1 minus 3. And then I wind up with negative 2 and negative 4. I feel like I did something wrong. Did I do it right?
No, isn't 3 times 9 27? And then you would have gotten 12?
Oh my God. Yep. I did 18. There we go.
I got 10 and negative 2.
I'm so glad that Mikey knows how to pay attention better than me. All right, so try that again. 3 times 9 is definitely not 18, and I did 18. So I have 27 minus 15 is 12. And then divide that, you get 4. Nice try, but at least it's still a pretty number. So then I wound up with x plus 3 squared equals 4. Square root that. Am I right now, Mikey? He's given up on me.
Wait. When
Am I
you did the square. Wait, now you're confusing me. Wait.
Where? Now I'm right.
Where'd you get the 3? Where'd you get the 3 on the left side?
Which one?
Because I mean I had the same thing up until the 12 over 3. And the 4. I don't know. I think I'm just being mental. I don't know.
Okay, so did you have this step here correct?
Let's see. Yes.
Okay, so then, like you told me, you get 27 plus a negative 15. Type it in a calculator because you never know if I'm wrong. Yeah, I got 12. 27 minus 15 is definitely 12.
Oh, I don't think I simplified on the step below the arrow.
Oh,
I
way to
got it.
go.
Yeah.
And then I divide by 3, which gave me the 4. You have to do that step.
Yeah. Okay.
So then I get x equals 2 minus 3. X equals negative 2 minus 3. So I have negative 1 and -5. Those would be where it crosses the x-axis for this graph. Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So on your quiz is going to give you one really weird problem, and you're just going to have to work it out. They're going to give you a line of 3 different things. I don't know if I'm picking the right one or not, so. And it says, are these equal? So then I get x plus 1, x plus 2, and then I have x plus 1.5 squared minus 0.25. So I would look at these individually and go ahead and just do the math so that it makes it easier. So you would use the box method for the middle one, which gives me x squared, x, 2x, 2. So I get x squared plus 3x plus 2. So that one worked. So those two are definitely equal. And then just go ahead and do the same thing with the last one. I have x plus 1.5 times x plus 1.5. That's not a 5. And then do the box method again. So you get x squared, 1.5x, 1.5x, which while we're doing that is 3. And then let me do 1.5 times 1.5. Times 1.5 is 2.25. So I add that. That's definitely not what I said. 2.5 plus that 0.25 that came from here. Oh no, that's a minus. I lied. Can't even read my own handwriting. Which gives me x squared plus 3x plus 2. Hey, that one worked. Okay, so you just have to do the work. Go, really, Mitchell? You need me to go faster? I think you just missed me screaming at you in class. Mitchell!
Wait, so is it just what is it gonna ask you then?
Which set is equal, and it'll give you 2 lines like this.
Okay.
So like here we had 3 equal equations. So then you would pick that line.
Okay.
Better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Because that's it for the quiz on 9.02. Because we did get through a little bit yesterday. Not much. Like the first question. I did the rest today. All right, guys. Well, then I think we're going to be switching our Zooms to 3 o'clock because it definitely works better for technology.
Yeah.
All right, so I will work on resetting up the Zoom codes so that we always are basically using the same Zoom code on Monday and Tuesday so that you don't have to keep looking for it. I know on my iPad, it stores it for me if I'm using a Zoom code that I've used before. All right? She's at 5, every day at 5. Okay? Any other questions? You're very welcome. All righty, guys. Don't forget, worst case, if you're still stuck and you just didn't want to ask, you can always text us. We always have our Google Voice numbers up. All right, guys. I will see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Glad we got to finish it.